Welcome to Quack&Co, the board game channel where every video is 10 minutes or less guaranteed, and today we're bringing you a preview of Legacy of Thracks: The Awakening, which is a massive game.
Yeah, it's really big. There's lots of stuff, and there's tons of different ways that you can play this game, which I think is what makes it unique. I mean, you can play it in a solo mode, you can play it with cooperative, you can play it one versus many, or you can play it just all against each other.
So in this preview, in this first look, we're going to break down the 3 different ways you can play the game, a little bit about the core mechanics and how everything functions around the board, from exploring, conquering regions, gathering battle cards, and your main objective, which is to get into the portal or the gate of Dimara.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about those three founding ways to play. I'm just like stumbling over my words there, but this is a channel where we don't make cuts, I think, unless we run over 10 minutes, and then we make hard cuts.
Big cuts.
Right at the end. And then at the end of this video, we're going to break down why you may or may not want to look into getting this or backing this over on a crowdfunding platform of choice. I think probably Kickstarter, but it could be GameFound, and you're never sure. So, in Legacy of Thracks, I'm going to start with the basic mode.
Okay.
And then I'll have you talk about the campaign specific. So,
sounds good.
In the basic mode, the core objective of the game is to make your way through this track up top here. Now, we have rush mode on right now, but I can pop that off to actually show you the full track, and each one of those icons is going to be a different resource that you have to pay. Different types of crystals you need to have in your supply, different health that you have to sacrifice if you're walking your way through the kind of vicious claws of the afterlife, and coins or money that you need to have, glory that you've collected. Now, there's a variety of ways to pay that cost. You could send your leader up here to this top section where he will never return to the board.
It's once he's in, he's in.
Once he's in, he's in. If you make the mistake of sending your person up there,
it's a bad day for you.
He doesn't come back, so you'll have to use minor actions and other kind of elements on the board in order to hopefully eke out your victory. So there's a chance you actually lock yourself out while everyone else kind of finishes the table. But let's say you don't do that. The object of the game is to go through and establish control, gain relics, collect crystals, and do your very best to win combat so you can get glory, which is all going to lead to accomplishing some of those gates. Then you'll want to tactically choose which gates you're closing off and claiming. Oh, I can barely reach up there. Choose which gates you're closing off and claiming in order to prepare the way so that when you decide to take the swing and go through the gate, you have the resources necessary to pass into Dimara. The first player to pass through Dimara is going to be the winner, or alternatively, the player who has the most accomplished gates at the end of your round, this is the day tracker over here, will, as far as lore goes, pass through Dimara. We all know they suffer, cry, and become an idol here on Earth, but don't actually make it to the realm of glory.
Yes.
That's just the way it works. So, what's the main function of the board? Well, on your turn, you're going to be able to move down these series of roads, paying gold to move, establishing control and taking actions at various different locations. Some locations are going to have a little symbol meaning your warrior or your core hero is the person who takes those actions. For instance, accomplishing or conquering different locations, like fortresses here that'll help your combat battle go up. Other locations, like our shrines or the locations that actually build the gems that we're collecting, require, what are these guys called again?
Lost souls.
Require a lost soul to go there. You can see the big mining pick on the back of them. They'll be collecting resources for you. All of this works together to, again, a puzzle that's solving that. So on the basic game, the basic premise of the game is you're going to have completely similar maps. There's no asymmetry in the basic game.
Right.
You're going to be moving from point to point, establishing control, setting up your territory, building roads to make your movement more efficient, and doing your best to accomplish tasks that give you glory, complete quests that allow you to complete different things, which a quest example here would be have 2 crystals and have at least 3 relics. Gather relics, which will every 5 will lead to an accomplishment, and then finally take your final swing to cross into Dimara. So that's the basic premise. Now, I'm going to be honest. The basic approach to this game, it's about 90 minutes long.
Yeah, if you're using rush mode, it's about 90 minutes.
And it's really not where we would recommend playing. It is really getting your feet underneath you if you want to learn. The real area where people are going to be spending the most time when they play this game,
the sweet spot,
is going to be the 3 to 5 hour mark, and that's going to be 2 different modes. The first mode is going to be clan mode.
Yeah, clan mode, which basically you've got different options. So you've got your green powers, your red powers, and the blue powers, but you also get the asymmetric boards. So you have the opportunity for every time you're doing something, you can gain extra powers throughout the area. When you pick up different gems, you can increase your different powers, and they allow you to do a lot more unique and fun things, which makes the game a little bit more entertaining, and it makes it a little bit deeper.
Now, along with that, we are going to potentially be engaging in combat, whether we are trying to fight each other or we're trying to establish control and move into a region where we want to take a bonus action. Every single asymmetric faction has a bonus associated with a different region. They want to control regions, and they want to fight in those regions.
Yes, because the more opportunities you have to fight each other, the more things you can steal from each other, and therefore make yourself stronger. But you also have to keep in mind, you have a limited amount of rounds to be able to complete these gates at the very end. And if you don't complete the gates, then you're just not really completing the entirety of the game.
Well, and really with the puzzle of the game, everything is kind of available to everyone. We have portals that cross across the board into any other portal location that you want to go. We have a tunnel mechanic.
Yeah, the tunnel mechanic, basically, if you go through a tunnel, you can go to anyone's occupied area that has a little clan banner on it and just take it away for free.
I mean, I spent a lot of time working on that.
And I took it for free.
And he showed up and was just like, I'd like this, thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
It was lovely. So, clan mode is going to have you playing the same core base game, but with asymmetric factions, which, like I said, each have regions they want to control, locations they're trying to get, in different ways to score their objectives. Gives you a little bit more agency over the board, some more interesting actions that you can take, but at the heart of it, it's still going to be kind of that core principle. Now, if we switch it up...
The point that actually makes it extremely fun is when you start talking about the shadow power, and you play the extra person who is basically the... What do they call it? It's not the fall guy, but it's the person in charge of keeping everyone from getting out.
The way that this game operates, the shadow player is basically balancing the game. The object for the shadow player, it's a one versus many style with semi-cooperative elements. So every player kind of needs to work together, sacrificing resources to take down the shadow player. The shadow player's objective is to keep anyone from crossing into Dimara.
Yes.
Here's the thing. They score...
the shadow player scores based on who doesn't get through.
A massive amount of points.
Yeah, there's no way to win if the shadow player basically keeps you out. It's impossible. Which is really fun if you're the shadow player, because then basically your job is just throwing wrenches in every plan that all of them are coming up with, and keeping yourself alive and healthy so that you can continue to gain more power and then make more bad things happen for everybody else.
So how does the shadow player actually operate?
Well, the basics of the shadow player is that you take your gems, you take your relics, and then you can use them to make sources of frustrations, sources of immobility, and sources of obstructions all over the board. In addition to that, you constantly are gaining shadow power, and if you go all the way up to 9 shadow power, you can actually take off a completed gate so that it just didn't actually happen. Which is really cool, because then you throw a giant wrench in the plan of them trying to get out, because if everyone went up to the top to try to work on gates, now they're stuck. They're not going to be able to get out.
You're all sort of trying to fuddle each other. And if I was going to recommend this game at any level, this would really be where I think groups should be working towards. So
for sure,
if you're picking this up, if you're looking at it over on Kickstarter, check out the expansions, whatever modules they have, the miniatures that they're going to have displays of, because we have a prototype here in front of us, and you're going to be looking at a 3 to 5 hour game that is a one versus many with a semi-cooperative nature, where everyone is trying to work towards their own victory condition, while also trying to fight against or balance the objectives of the shadow player.
Definitely a take that strategy kind of game where you really have to enjoy messing with other people to really get the most out of what this game is offering.
Overall, there's not a lot of heavy, crunchy rules here. No. It's pretty straightforward. It's move, take objectives, gather resources, and try to be as efficient with your actions as possible. So there's not an overarching rules barrier to actually getting up and playing. Instead, it's the strategies to take that and just that 3 to 5 hour playtime. That'll be the question as to whether or not you're going to add it to your table. So with that, I think that's our time. We are ticking very close to the 10-minute mark. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and let us know if you have any questions, because we'd be happy to answer them. We'll see you next time.